What is up, all? Happy Monday. Welcome into Pac-12 Preview. Yes, I am Michael Caratanudo, and it is Monday. It was an insane weekend, I got to tell you. Well, first off, look, last night in the men's Final Four, we'll get to the teams in the Final Four. We'll get to the foul call, all that stuff in the San Diego State Creighton game. And yeah, but Caitlin Clark, a 41-point triple-double. Yeah. Insane, to say the least. And I'm at a loss of words in a way. I mean, the fact it's coming. We had Charlie Turner-Thorne on Friday, obviously, longtime ASU head coach, over 500 victories. And you look at it and you can have a plan to defend. And yes, it's not just Caitlin Clark. I mean, she is phenomenal. Her team is very solid around her. But you know what's coming. You know what's coming. And you still can't stop it. So, like, to me, that's the madness part of it. You know what's coming, and yes, still unable to stop it. Because, I mean, think about that. When you look at that and think about when you know what's coming, like I said, you know what's coming, and yeah, her teammates are working it, but you know what's coming and you still can't stop it. You still can't stop it. And I mean, just look at 41 points, 10 boards, 12 assists. And that's the thing too. So yes, to get a triple double, you all know, yes, you have to have double digits and everything and an assist. But yes, so she got to the minimum in assists. Okay. Which again, 10 assists is one hell of a night. So that being said, 41 points, 12 assists, 10 boards, 3 steals. She had 9 turnovers. Again, and I'm not being a hater. I'm just saying, like, in that game. And, I thought Louisville, again, in this game, I'm like, you know what? I think Louisville, I'm thinking it goes down to the wire. But I also am thinking, okay, I think Louisville wins it. And I mean, Haley Van Lith has had a hell of a tournament too for the Cardinals, for Louisville. And to me, like, I'm like, okay, I think, they'll go back and forth. And the way Van Lith has been playing, like, again, it doesn't shock me, to say the least. But last night, she has, you're thinking, okay, it's good styling, 27 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. She also had 5 turnovers as well. See, I'm not trying to be like a triple-double hater. And so I'm like, okay, it'll come down to these two. But again, 27 points, heck of a night. Olivia Cochran, also the 6'3 junior for Louisville, had 20 points last night. 20 points, 14 boards. That's why I wanted to get to Olivia, because 14 boards. If you saw this game, you're thinking, man. And so 14 boards, and she had 1 assist, 1 steal as well. But you're like, okay, it had to be close. And then, but Caitlin Clark, 41 points. I mean, 11 for 19 field goal wise, 8 for 14 from behind the arc. And she hit a few from a little deeper than, I mean, she wasn't just right at the 3-point line. 41 points, 12 assists, 10 boards, 3 steals too. You know, just add a little more to the stat sheet. But there was and then the first, I mean, and it was pretty much the same. She had 22 points in the first half, by the way. 22 points in the first half. And so 19 in the second half. So again, but she on a stretch, she scored or assisted on. This is a stat that was crazy to me. In watching, you realize he got, okay, guess she had 10 assists. But in watching, it's crazy to me because she scored or assisted on 72 of the 97 points. How insane is that? Like the fact they put up 97 as well. Like somebody scores 41, you're thinking, okay, they're not just going to put up 60, understandably. But to do that as she did, I mean, it's just, like I said, mind-blowing. The first ever 40-point triple-double in tournament history. But she has scored or assisted on 72 of the 97 points. and I mean, you look at it. Okay, Iowa's up 25-21 after the first. They put up 23 in the second. Louisville put up 22. So it's 48-43 at the half. Iowa figuring right there. This is the difference in the game. It was a 14-point victory for Iowa. In the third quarter, 30-16. And then in the fourth quarter, Louisville, again, trying to make a charge. They do outscore Iowa 24-19. But 30 points in that third quarter, and Caitlin Clark was ridiculous. Ridiculous, I tell you. And if you haven't seen, and I saw her play a few times this season, Big Ten games. I think when they beat Ohio State, it was, again, the games all roll together. But I think it was. Oh, wait, you know what? I can tell you who it was. I know. Oh, I did watch the first half of one of our games against Maryland. And then, Iowa. When they got Iowa pretty good. And I said Ohio State. Oh, and their battle. I actually saw the second half of a game with Indiana, but like Caitlin Clark just did it all year long. I mean, she knows, and they know the defense is coming to her, but a 41-point triple-double. Yes, let that settle in. So that, I mean, to me, yes, the final, the men's and everything, it was very, it was huge because when you look at it, like to me, it's the foul call. I'm going to save more of this tonight on the Sports Arena. Again, shameless plug. You can check us out 10 o'clock Eastern time on Sports Arena. And I'm going to get more into this tonight, but inevitably, if it's a foul, it's a foul. Stop whining, people. And this is what I have problem with analysts always saying, and even players that formerly played, you can't call that. Well, if they would have gotten fouled at the end of the game, they're not going to say the same things. You hear it in post-game pressers all the time, right? And for those of you that maybe didn't watch, I am talking about the San Diego State, hats off to the Aztecs, and the Creighton game. San Diego State, Creighton. Comes down to the wire, a phenomenal game. I mean, defense, again, they both play defense very well. Creighton started the season good, got banged up a little early, had to deal with some injuries, and it's it's frustrating the way it ended. Yes. Can I sympathize with Creighton fans in, end of the game, don't blow the whistle. Okay. I've said this 25 million times, right? 25 million times. If it's a foul in the first game and a foul in the 15th game and a foul in the 30th game, it's a foul in the tournament, right? Here's the thing. And this is what annoys me the most, because when you look at calls all throughout the tournament and you hear every year, like there are some conferences in officiating that, they let them be a teeny bit more physical. No, you still can't hand check because they'll call that, but they'll let a little of the physicality go within the flow of the game. Okay, fine. But once you get to the tournament, it doesn't become ticky-tack, but it's a foul. And my frustration with everybody saying that is, you can't, or not everybody, but a lot of people saying you can't call it. And then other people saying, well, he blew the whistle. So it's a foul. But in that tone, it's frustrating because, look, I get it. If you're Creighton, if you're like, did it really affect the shot? Did it really affect? Look, you can feel it there as he's going up. The hand is in the hip, right? So if it's in the hip, like you can't tell me that it didn't affect the shot. Now, because you feel, okay, I feel the player feels the contact, he's kind of moving as his hand's going up. He's like, I have to take a little bit off the shot. Or, in that split second, I got to put a little bit more on. I got to take a little bit off. Well, it ended up being short, right? Okay. So maybe that's why I felt I had to take it off. I get so annoyed with this because, and especially when analysts say it, and I've said it for years. Now, yeah, I didn't play basketball at that level, but I do know, like I said, in any sport, having played basketball, yes, I've played basketball. And when you're playing and somebody's like, oh, well, it's, that time of the game. If it's a foul, it's a foul. Because here's the simplistic point to it. And yes, did Creighton play good enough to win? Absolutely. Did San Diego State play good enough to win? Absolutely. But when analysts are sitting there saying it, that have played, oh, well, you can't blow the whistle in that situation. You don't need to. Did it really change? Okay, cool. Then everybody that gets fouled at an end of a game, then just to have the referee say, cool, man, turn it into literally whatever you want to say. Turn it into rugby. Let it be like rugby. Which, yes, there are fouls in rugby. I'm just saying, let it be like a scrum in rugby. Don't blow the whistle. Every shot will go up and be missed. And then what do you think will happen after 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 times of that? Oh my goodness. I mean, okay, we were wrong, this and that. So, swallow the whistle. It's frustrating when I hear analysts say in that instance, it's a foul. Because I know if I had that ability, and when I was, again, playing sports, and I've said a million times, especially talking to football coaches, when DBs are getting called for PI, and yes, sometimes do I think some of them are ridiculous? Absolutely, I'm with people on that. I'm not a robot, but when you can, but it's still PI. And then there are times you see the replay and it's not called. They're like, well, where was the foul? Where was the PI? And you see the guy's arm. So arm battling is accepted, okay, because both are doing it. But when a receiver's got his arms up, if a DB, a corner is right there, and you're sitting there pulling on their jersey or holding their arm down, which is the one I love when I see it. And yeah, that goes back to the ASU TCU game. ASU may have lost in overtime. We'll never know because Warren Washington was trying to block a shot, and the defender has his lower arm locked. How is that not a foul, right? So yes, for Creighton fans, I didn't see you up in arms. I didn't see any boards about ASU getting hosed, Creighton fans. And I'm not throwing shade at you, but it's just, and even for the analysts that said, okay, well, in that situation, well, all these analysts that played, if they were fouled in that situation, they would have been like, well, you didn't blow the whistle. So now we got to go to overtime because I didn't get to go to the free throw line and make free throws. It's hard not to talk out of both sides of the mouth. I know. And I'm not saying, and the analysts that are out there, especially for the tournament, they do a good job. I mean, I heard what Charles Barkley said yesterday after the game when I was watching on CBS. Last night on ESPN, how Jay Billis said it. He's like, well, we'll never know. He's like, but they're all, not all, a lot are leaning as you couldn't call it. And I love what Clark Kellogg said. He goes, yes, it was a foul. Yes, it should have been called. And Gene Steratore was on set on CBS afterwards as well. So you can't, it is frustrating, but you're playing defense. He's going up for a shot like that. Yeah, you want to go straight up and you go straight up and challenge and bodies bump in the air. I guarantee the whistle's not blowing as long as you don't like sit there and swing your arms down and pretty much just plant him into the court. Like you can't do that. And you can't do that. And so, yeah, that you couldn't do, that would be called. But if you go up and you don't have your hand right there in the line of the official on top's vision, right? Like you can't do that. And So I understand Creighton's frustrations. I do. And I understand what, and fans who don't have a vested interest are like, well, okay. But, when I hear, like I said, Charles Barkley saying that, and when I hear, like Jay Billis and the guy and like Seth Greenberg, and they're talking about it, and LaFonso Ellis, like, yeah, of course, are you going to be frustrated? But if it's a foul in the first minute of the game, see, here's the thing. When they say, oh, well, if it's a 2-point game, like there was many possessions and there was one play, every single play in that game, because again, final score 57-56, San Diego State, as you all know, every possession was huge. And you look at Creighton committed 11 fouls. Oh, each team both committed 11 fouls. So I get the argument too. I'm not going to ignore that. About, well, they hardly called any fouls all game long. Okay, well, then there weren't fouls. I'm just saying that in a 1-point game, every possession, if that would have been called in the first quarter, you can bet, and I always say movie money, but you could bet, a zillion dollars, a fake zillion dollars, that if that play happened in the first quarter, someone would have went back to it and said, oh, well, was this really a foul call? I'm not saying they would have every foul call, but someone would have went back to, oh, man, I mean, look at, and maybe give an example of that, and gave an example of the first quarter and what happened in the fourth quarter. So look, the fact that he literally has his hand on the side, and again, slow motion replay has ruined sports forever. Slow motion replay ruined it. Yes. Do players flop? And yet a lot of I played soccer. Yes, I get it. When somebody gets fouled and they're down and they're flopping, or they're embellishing. I shouldn't say they flop, because they're embellishing. But when you see these fouls in slow motion, the obvious ones are the obvious ones when they're going to review for flagrants and stuff like that. If they have to go to the video monitor, college NBA to review. But in general, before that, the slow motion replay, because you're like, oh, that person barely moved. These guys are big, athletic, whatever sport you're talking. Basketball too. If a guy's going, in control, going to the basket, but he's going just about full speed, and you just barely bump him, he's going to go flying. In slow motion, it's like, oh, he barely, when they slow down, oh, he barely bumped. You can see it, but it's like, that's not a foul. That guy's flopping, embellishing, whatever you want to say. So you can't look at it and think that it's not a foul because of the slow motion replay. But even on the slow motion replay, his hand is sitting there going up with him. So yeah, does one feel bad for Creighton? Absolutely. But it was a foul. So, and these analysts, like I said, a lot of, and Charles Barkley, when he played, yes, drew a lot of fouls. And people say, oh, well, stars always get these calls and this and that. Yeah, they're forcing it. They're going to the rim, obviously the way Barkley played. But in that case, when you see the end of the game, and we've all watched it. We've watched a million ends of games. We've watched a million of them. And you see shots going up. If it's not a three-pointer, but you see a shot going up in the lane, hands going up. You see, bodies getting bumped. Every now and then you'll see a player go down, and the refs are right there saying, oh, he's trying to sell it extra, and they don't blow the whistle. But you see the contact, you're like, I know, okay, maybe you're not. I know I'm like, man, all that contact, no whistle? Really? Even offensive or defensive. I'm just saying all that contact. So when you swallow the whistle, as they say, you become a part of the game. Now they want to say became a part of the game because he blew the whistle when it was a foul. So look, when my team loses, I hate it. I despise it. I'm annoyed. And yes, what you can't spell fanatic without fan. The fanatic in me will say, I'll just throw the statement out there, but I won't really elaborate, because then, of course, I talk myself out of it. So if I talk myself out of it, then it's like, well, okay, it was a foul, it was a good call. I'm just mad because that's my team. I'm a fan. Go from there. A la Warren Washington at the end of the TCU game in the first round. Now, look, it was a I mean, TCU lost to Gonzaga by 3, who, well, we'll get to that after the break, but could ASU have, again, the way they defended, they could have hung with Gonzaga. And I said that it would be tough, but 84-81. Gonzaga beat TCU by 3. So, I mean, could ASU lost 84-81? Sure. But we'll never know because they were able to get that shot off and the whistle didn't blow. And yeah, the whistle didn't blow, right? And ASU went home. Yes, as a fan, was I mad? Can I see why but to all, and what I'm saying with the analysts and Creighton and San Diego State, look, both deserve to be in the Final Four. This whole thing about people complaining about the seeding, that's story for another day. But anyway, just wanted to get that out there. Look, hats off. San Diego State played a hell of a game. I'm happy for the Aztecs. Love that campus. I've had quite a few friends that have gone to school at San Diego State. Nothing against Creighton. ASU beat Creighton this year. So I would have, I mean, to me, from a selfish standpoint, it would have been like, if Creighton, say, would have went on to the Final Four and say Creighton would have won a championship, I would have been like, hey, you know me, the homer, bring it back to ASU. Thanks to good friend Greg Moore. Got to get him on here, man. Greg Moore, Uncle Homer. Everybody always, a lot of, friends and colleagues throughout the year said, yes, I was, maybe at 2 times way optimistic. But again, not everything's always negative. But yes, I am Uncle Homer. And with ASU and TCU. So, yeah, I mean, from a selfish standpoint, I could have tied that back to ASU. Like, yeah, Creighton, look, they got healthy. They won a title. But, man, they still had some guys when ASU played them. And ASU ended up beating Creighton. So, hey, look, just saying, could have brought it back to that. But San Diego State did that. So we're going to step aside. On the other side, we're going to dive into the both Final Fours. Obviously, it was very tough on the women's side for the Pac-12. Successful, but tough weekend for the women in the Pac-12. Obviously, on the men's side, UCLA, we touched on a little bit Friday with Charlie Turner-Thorne. But I'm going to step aside real quick. I'll be back with that, so don't go far. And we will have more coming up here on Pac-12 Preview. All right, back here on Pac-12 Preview. I am Michael Caracino at Diablo00. And again, if y'all have any comments, you can hit me up on Twitter at Diablos00. As you see, yes, again, part of the Uncle Homer for Devils. Or hit me up in the comments here. Again, leave a comment. What do you think? The tournament's been awesome, though. So the fact that there's no number 1 or 2 or 3 seeds in the Final Four on the men's side, I love it. Absolutely awesome. It's the whole point of the tournament. I'm so sick and tired of hearing, oh, well, they need to break this and that. Like a blue blood needs to win it. No, man, I am all for San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, a 35-win team. Get out of here with that, man. They are earning it, is what I know. I'm just saying they are earning it. Did Florida Atlantic. That I will say, because I mean, look at it. Florida Atlantic came in as a 9 seed in the East region, right? And their toughest game, well, they got by Memphis, the 8-9 matchup, Memphis 8 seed. That's always in the seedings, and I always give the hats off to the committee, because when you look at a lot of the 8-9 games throughout history, they're say 2 to 5 point games. They're very, very close, because you figure, okay, these two teams right here that are on that 8 line or 9 line, like, are the closest. So you figure, okay, it could go either way. So Maryland and West Virginia was the 8-9. Maryland, the 8 seed, won that. What was the score to that game in the first round? 67-65. Then we go down to FAU and Memphis. Like I said, Memphis 8, Florida Atlantic 9. Florida Atlantic wins 66-65. Then we go over to the Midwest region. Okay, a little separation. Auburn beat Iowa 83-75. I'm not going to go off on the Big Ten rant again. You had that when the brackets came out. I'll spare you. And then the 8-9 in the West, Arkansas, they, in the end, separated from Illinois, but it was 73-63. But, I mean, look at the South and the East. The South with Maryland, who's the 8, Maryland 8, they won 67-65 over West Virginia, who, of course, I had West Virginia winning that game. But, we don't need to talk about my sour brackets being ruined. And then FAU, Memphis had the lead. FAU gets, I want to say, yeah, they hit a shot late, and then Memphis wasn't able to answer. So I think Memphis did have a chance, as I recall. Don't fully quote me on that. I've watched a ton of these games. But then FAU turns around, and Fairleigh Dickinson, who beat Purdue, I will rip on the Big Ten now, the 16 seed, 63-58, and everybody says, well, if they play that game, whatever, so many times, Purdue wins and blah, blah, shouldn't affect the seedings. They were number 1. Okay, I didn't think Purdue was the number 1. I thought UCLA should have been the other number 1, and Purdue was the team that shouldn't. Yeah, okay, they won the Big Ten tournament. Kansas got smoked in the Big 12 championship final, yet Kansas still a 1 seed. Now, I'm not saying Texas should have jumped them and been a 2 seed, because, again, it's what Kansas did all season long. But what Purdue did all season long, the losing streak, everything, I think UCLA, and again, it would have been definitely on the other side of the map, but I think UCLA should have been number 1 where Purdue was. And again, is UCLA still playing? I mean, you think, okay, Fairleigh Dickinson, maybe they upset UCLA too. I'm not taking anything away from that. I'm just saying, to me, Purdue shouldn't have been a number 1 seed there. It should have been UCLA, and Marquette definitely the number 2 seed in the East. I mean, they put USC as a 10 seed in the East, who lost in the first round, but that was just my take on that. So, but the 8-9 matchup, and then you see, okay, Florida Atlantic, so they do that. They beat Fairleigh Dickinson, who upset Purdue, but it was a close game, 78-70. Then they turn around and have a beautiful stretch run against Tennessee and beat Tennessee now, who for a lot of the season, I mean, part of the season was number 1, and they look good. They did have some injuries, yes, did Tennessee, but Tennessee was, to me, a team I thought could get to the Final Four and win it all. Just the way they were playing down the stretch. Yes, what they had done all season, but FAU had a hell of a stretch run if you watch that game, and they win 62-55. Then they turn around and beat Kansas State 79-76. That game was insane. And there you go. Headed to the Final Four. San Diego State won last night. Not going to go through the whole thing, but you got a 5 and a 9 seed on between the South and the East. So San Diego State 5 and 9, and then Miami another 5 seed. So 2 5 seeds, a 4 seed, 2 5 seeds, and a 9. The whole point of the tournament is, allegedly, if the committee gets it right, these are the 68 best teams in the country. So yes, the overall number 1 to and let's just go, fine. The overall number 1 to the 68th team. Basically, you're thinking, okay, they're here. They can win. Now, when you look, especially when you think of the at-large bids, right? So these are 68 of the best teams. And if you want to say, okay, and I'd be totally cool. I'm totally cool. Not that it matters either way. But if you want to say 64, but these are the best 64 teams in the country, as per the committee, as per what they've done all season long. So these are the best 64 teams. So the fact that, yes, and granted, it is Miami, San Diego State's, and FAU's, it's those three schools, first time ever in the Final Four. So yes, granted, Dan Hurley, the head coach at UConn, Bobby Hurley's brother. Yes, again, see, can always tie it into ASU, right? No. But no, UConn will be looked at as a favorite. And look, the way they've played all year, I know, and they went through a stretch too. It seemed like everybody, and I'm not going to say UCLA really didn't go through a stretch. I mean, yeah, they dropped a game here or there, but UCLA didn't go on like extended stretches like Purdue. And UConn's wasn't crazy extended, but I mean, they went through a little bit of a lull. And then by the Big East tournament, you could see it. And the way Dan Hurley has them playing, I mean, absolutely. That matchup against Miami, absolutely insane. I am looking very forward to that because the way Miami played in the ACC all year, people say, oh, well, the ACC was down. I mean, Miami was a 5 seed. Duke, they won the ACC tournament and they were also a 5 seed and blah, blah, blah. And I said it was a little bit down too, but Miami played solid all year long. They might have the best guard combo in the tournament. So I don't look at it as oh, it's UConn or San Diego State, FAU. Why are we even watching this? This is the whole point of the tournament. I mean, Jim Larrañaga, when he got there with what was it? Am I trying to Butler? Oh man! All right, let's see. I am efforting this because it's going to drive me. I want to say it was Butler. George Mason. Sorry, George Mason again. And I mean, that was back in 06. So the man can coach. And even then, George Mason, so if you're just expecting, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, even UCLA, because what they did, Blue Bloods, like this Final Four to me is absolutely awesome. These are the best teams. San Diego State plays defense. Miami plays defense, and so does UConn. Again, I mean, UConn could end up being a favorite and a quote unquote, team that's won a national title. Blue Blood would have won it, but man, I couldn't be more stoked for this Final Four. Well, I could be if ASU was there because I did have ASU winning it all in one bracket. I know. You can send me your fun trash talking comments. I will take it. That's fine. But I did have ASU in 2 of my brackets winning it all. But that's okay. That's the fun part to it. So look, what UConn just did to Gonzaga, 82-54. Pardon me. Did not see that coming. Did I think UConn could win that game? Absolutely. I did pick Gonzaga in another close game because, 79-76 over UCLA. I figured it'd be like, an 82-79 game, 85-82, something like that. Either way. Yes, I know. Weird. Me on the fence. But to me, I thought that was the toughest. It was tough for me to pick that game, and I went with Gonzaga by 3. I didn't go with UConn by 28. So if you had that on your bingo card, congratulations. But I would say raise your hand. But I would say unless you're outside of a diehard UConn fan, like students, fans, or alum, if you had UConn and 28 on your bingo card, I tip my cap to you. But I doubt you did. So look, the Final Four is absolutely awesome. on that side, because you know what, when you look at the UCLA, on the women's side, and I said I get to this, man, it was tough for the Pac-12 over the weekend. The first game, the LSU and Utah game in the Sweet 16. Man, that went down to the wire. And 66-63 is the final. I mean, LSU beat Miami yesterday and did not have the same kind of offensive smoothness and fluidity that they had against Utah, because if that had been their offense in the first half against Utah, we'd be talking about Utah in the Final Four. But we're not. Hats off to Kim Mulkey and the Tigers of LSU. Yeah, I mean, when you look at this box score, insane. Tied at 16 at the end of the first. Utah outscores LSU 17-13 in the second, so it's 33-29 at halftime. Then, so they're up by 4. Then LSU outscores Utah by 3 in the third, 17-14. So it's 47-46 going into the fourth, and this is when LSU delivered. 20-16. Yeah, not a bad quarter for either team, but I mean, that second quarter for Utah to hold LSU to 13 points with a player like Angel Reese, with a player like Ladazio Williams, and he was a 6'4" senior, by the way, but I know that Angel Reese, again, what she can do, I mean, 12 rebounds. She had 17 points and 12 rebounds. Williams had 24 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. And then Alexis Morris, if you watch this game, to me, Alexis Morris, yes, had 15 points, didn't lead the team, but she was 6 for 7 from the free throw line. When I say line, I know a lot of people think 3 points. They're like, damn. No, but which 6 or 7 again from the free throw line, but 1 for 3 from 3. I know she was 4 for 14 from the field, but the 7 assists, the 4 rebounds, the steal, like that, to me, that was a little that was the teeny bit of the engine that put them over the top, put LSU over the top on Utah. And I mean, look, Utah had a phenomenal season. Now, LSU definitely did focus on Alyssa Pilley, the 6'2" junior from Anchorage, Alaska, who again averaged over 20 points a game on the season. They held her to 14 points, but in 27 minutes. But she had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. She also got in a little foul trouble. She had 5 fouls. So hence, that's why she only played the 27 minutes, because can't blame coach, again, trying to spread it out. And yes, and I do feel bad for Jenna Johnson, who had a hell of a season for the Utes. If you saw the game late, she misses both free throws. She misses both free throws, and it was such a men's or women's side, man. And people say, "Oh, you're just saying it because it's a women's side." No, they're athletes. They've been there, but man, she's had such a good season. And it was 64-63 at the time. LSU was leading, right? Now LSU got, I think, 2 more free throws after that. But again, even if she hits 1, she ties it up, and she misses. And again, they weren't off, and LSU ends up getting the rebound, and there was only like 2 seconds left, and they got a foul, 2 seconds left, and then Utah had a timeout. And their last shot, they put up a very contested, hard challenge three, which they needed to do to tie it up. But look, hats off to Kim Mulkey. I mean, look, to hold Philly to 14 points, but again, Utah team thing. Gianna Neepkins, the 5'11 sophomore, led the Utes with 20 points. She had 20 points, 8 rebounds, no assists, but 3 steals in the game. And actually didn't have any fouls. So, but she had 20 points. And then Isabel Palmer Jr. again had a solid season, but she had 15 points. She averaged 8 points during the season. She had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And Jenna Johnson, again, tough game, but she had 5 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and in 37 minutes, and just but misses both free throws. And you could see that in the replay too, and during the game, they cut over to Kim Mulkey, like if she makes it, want her team to call a timeout right away. But she misses both. LSU gets the rebound and LSU gets the rebound. They got the timeout. They scored. And then, Utah still had a chance with like 0.3 of a second left. Put up a 3 to try and force overtime. But look, like I said, hats off to Kim Mulkey. That was the best game to me. And again, no disrespect to UCLA. Colorado and Iowa was good, but that was the best game of Friday. LSU and Louisville beat Ole Miss 72-62. I know I talked about, obviously, Iowa beating Louisville, and then Iowa beat Colorado. Another Pac-12 team goes down. And then 87-77, Caitlin Clark had, 31? Yeah, she only had 31 points that game and 8 assists. Slacking was Caitlin Clark. No, but and then Miami beat Villanova in a wee bit of an upset there on Friday. But then, look, UCLA, South Carolina, 59-43. And UCLA, this is okay. So here's like the Twilight Zone stat of this. Just want to give this to you real quick. South Carolina, again, 35-0. They are rolling, are the Gamecocks. And so UCLA scored 8 points in the first quarter, 7 points in the second quarter. So they had 15 points at half, right? South Carolina led 14-8 after one. They led 25-15 at halftime, right? So UCLA scored 15 first half points. South Carolina scored 25 first half points. Both teams in the third quarter scored what they did in the first half. South Carolina scored 25 points in the third quarter. UCLA scored 15. So it was 50-30 at the end of the third. And South Carolina, again, UCLA doing whatever they could. They only put up 9 points in the fourth, but inevitably UCLA only put up 13. So 59-43 was the final. I just think that was very eerie. That's like the Twilight Zone stat. So real quick on the women's side, Iowa and LSU are there in the Final Four. And now we have South Carolina and Maryland are playing tonight because, like I said, the men, as we always know, go Thursday through Sunday. The women start Friday and go Friday through Monday. So you can, if you haven't seen South Carolina play tonight, Maryland's a very good team too. It won't be a walk for South Carolina. Put it that way. Now, yes, are they talented? Can they beat them? Absolutely. But I will say this, that'll be a very interesting game. That is at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific on ESPN. Definitely check it out. The other matchup is number 1, Virginia Tech, and number 3, Ohio State. I saw Virginia Tech play a few times this year. I saw Ohio State play against Iowa this year. Against Iowa. I talked about that. Against Iowa and Indiana. want to say later in the season, but I really like Virginia Tech and what they've done. And again, has nothing to do with my disdain for Ohio State, as you know, especially in football. But no, I mean, if Ohio State wins, again, it's not a me prediction. I'm not going to be shocked if Ohio State wins. So yeah, that game is at 9:00 Eastern, 6:00 Pacific. Again, both on ESPN. But yeah, Iowa and LSU punched their tickets again. Unfortunately for me, now my brackets on the women's side still good, still scored a lot more points than it did on the men's side. But no Pac-12 teams in the Final Four, and I thought there would at least be one. I thought there would be two, personally, but I mean, there was no way there wasn't going to be one team to me. But as you know, yes, there can only be four. But yeah, and then March 31st, by the way, is the Final Four. That's when Iowa plays. Don't know the time yet. But if you have not seen Caitlin Clark play, and of course, chances are they'll be playing in South Carolina, it'll be interesting to see how they defend her because this girl can just flat out shoot. I mean, she's hitting from literally all over the court. No, she's not shooting from half court, but she can hit deep threes. She's getting her teammates involved. Teams know what's coming, and she's still putting up 25 to 30 or a 41, mess around, get a 41-point triple double. Hats off to Caitlin Clark. That is insane. And yeah, so March 31st, again, I'll remind you again on Friday, but March 31st, again, please, 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 please watch Caitlin Clark play. You won't be disappointed. And somehow, if it is Maryland or if it is South Carolina and they shut her down, well, they would be the first team to do it all year because that doesn't happen. So that will be a very interesting matchup there. So, but yeah, the men's Final Four, man, hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter. What do you think of, FAU and San Diego State? That's actually going to be a really good game. I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't be. And so yeah, I mean, and San Diego State and FAU, and then Miami, UConn. That'll be people think. Look, they blew Gonzaga out, and can you sit there and say, "Oh, well, they're going to blow"? Yeah, they blew Gonzaga out, so they're just going to roll Miami. No, I don't think any of the games will be a blowout. I mean, yes, if somebody wins by 10, you want to say they have control of it, sure. But Miami with the guard play, yeah, they're gonna stay in it, and it'll be an awesome Final Four. But hit me up during the week. Let me know. I'm not not gonna make any predictions till Friday. I got to stew on it. But let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on Twitter at Diablo00, and we shall go from there. But yeah, I want to wrap with a baseball over the weekend. Well, okay, I will start with the homer shout out in baseball over the weekend. Forks up a territorial cup rivalry, a sweep for the Sun Devils. Willie Bloomquist, I got to go out Saturday night and see that comeback victory again. They were down 3-1, ended up winning 7-4. ASU won 6-5 on Friday, 7-4 on Saturday, and they got the sweep yesterday, 10-6 over the Wildcats. So again, phenomenal matchup over the weekend. Again, the Devils get the victory there. And Washington, by the way, the Huskies went into LA yesterday. They get a walk-off home run, and they beat UCLA 11-10. Or wait, they weren't in LA, were they? Yeah, so UCLA won the first game on Friday, 5-1 over Washington. And then Washington won it 3-0 Saturday and then won 11-10 yesterday. So very interesting there. Oregon State and Cal over the weekend. So Oregon State won on Friday 5-3. Cal turned around and won on Saturday 2-1. And then on Sunday, pardon me, um, Oregon State won again, 2-1. So they won that series. Oregon won their um, series against Northwestern State. Um, but yeah, when we look at the standings real quick in um, after the weekend in baseball, look at who's up top in the standings, everybody. And there's a long way to go. There is definitely a long way to go. But Arizona State is 5-1 in conference play. Their only loss on the road to this point, and again, they've only had 2 Pac-12 series, but at Utah, they took the first 2, and then they lost the Sunday game. They've won 8 out of 9, have the Sun Devils. But yeah, 5-1 in conference play, 16-8 overall. And then tomorrow, they're actually in Vegas. They take on UNLV. In Las Vegas. So yeah, we'll see what they can do tomorrow. But yeah, 5-1 in conference play. Real quick, USC is 7-2, Stanford 6-2, UCLA 6-3, Washington now 4-2. Oregon is 3-3. Oregon State and Washington State are 3-6, as is Arizona, and then Utah 2-6. Cal is 2-7 right now. So again, Willie Bloomquist last year in his first season, but got some pitchers, the batting, I mean, the lineup, and looking good. Again, just Pac-12 baseball. And again, I know, I always say in other sources, no best conference, but I will say in baseball throughout the years, yeah, I mean, what Oregon State's done, and again, they're 3-6, but they're 15-9 overall. I mean, you look at overall, ASU 16-8, USC 14-8-1, Stanford 15-5, UCLA 16-5, Washington 16-6, Oregon 15-7, Oregon State 15-9, Washington State 14-9, U of A 13-9, and then Utah is 10-13, but Cal is 10-10. So again, overall, outside of conference, yeah, they're doing pretty damn good. And yeah, Pac-12 baseball, again, when you have the races, and again, growing up, saw ASU up there a lot. Whether it was Jim Brock, Pat Murphy, like those were long, extended managers and coaches and runs. And yeah, so look, Willie Bloomquist, an alum, you see the fire in him. On Friday, I'm actually going to play. Again, I couldn't, not the magical editor, full disclosure, but play some of the sound from the weekend against U of A before they get set for their next weekend series, and going to wrap it up on softball. Over the weekend. So on Friday, Cal beat ASU. First time again, ASU's been there in a while, 4-3. And again, just back and forth, and Cal being the home team, they got the last of it. And then Cal shut out ASU on Saturday. Again, another pitcher's duel, 2-0. But in extras yesterday, the Devils come back and get the victory over Cal 4-2. So they don't win the series, but inevitably build some momentum, especially coming off the and again, it was the same thing against Arizona the week before. Arizona very, very good, but to get that last game, and again, you want to build momentum, understandably. But yeah, so ASU, that was their weekend series. Oregon, Oregon beat UCLA 3-0 on Friday, and then UCLA turned around and beat them 7-4 on Saturday, and then UCLA wins the series on the road. They get the 6-2 win yesterday. As for Arizona, Washington beat them 3-1 on Friday. Yes, up in Seattle, and then they turned around and beat them 4-3 on Saturday, and yeah, Husky. And then the Huskies sweep the Wildcats and get the 6-4 victory on Sunday. So Stanford also, they swept Oregon State over the weekend. And yeah. So, and then when we look at the standings again in softball, Stanford up top, 5-1. Well, Stanford and Utah both up top, 5-1 in conference play. UCLA and Washington both at 6-3 in conference play. UCLA third, Washington fourth, but and then Cal is 4-4-1. Oregon is 3-6. Arizona is also 3-6, and you have ASU at 2-4. Again, got to start getting some series wins, but I like the makeup of this team. Defense got to come around, but bats wise, oh, those ASU bats, yes, they are. They are very. Joe Boo has woke them up. That's a major league reference for the movie for you fans out there. But yeah, ASU 2-4, and then Oregon State 7-1. But overall, I mean, Stanford 27-3, Utah 21-5, UCLA 29-4. Washington 25-6, Cal 22-8-1, and then Oregon is 20-10, Arizona 20-12, Arizona State 18-10. Again, you got to start getting a few more victories in conference. But when you're talking about going to a regional, getting into the postseason, all those teams are above 500. And then yes, Oregon State is at 10-18-1. So yeah, I mean it's very, very. Again, you look at overall and what all the teams were able to do at a conference is huge. But yes, you got to start getting wins in conference. I mean, if you're ASU, you look at Arizona above you and Oregon, and you got to chop away at them. But yeah, I mean, it's again softball, baseball in this conference, just absolutely amazing. If you get a chance, go out and watch some. I mean, watch on TV, yes, but if you can go out, you're in an area, go out and watch some, because you will definitely enjoy it. So next week, there are games. Well, so this week, Utah's game against UVU was canceled today. Or tomorrow's game was canceled, pardon me. And then on Wednesday, Cal plays Pacific and Stanford plays Cal State Fullerton. Those are the midweek games, but then the weekend series, Utah will be taking on Cal. So, and then Arizona will be taking on Georgetown in Tucson. Oh, the battle of the Oregon schools. Oregon will travel to Oregon State for a weekend series and take on the Beavers. And then, Arizona's playing in a tournament because they play Georgetown and then they play USD, University of San Diego. Friday. Also Friday, ASU starts a weekend series at home. If you're in the area, get out there because this is going to be huge. So with what Washington's doing, they host the Huskies at 6 p.m. on Friday, and then UCLA will be hosting Stanford. And then Saturday, ASU plays Washington, and that's at 5 o'clock, well, local time. So 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock here. And then Sunday, it's a noon game. So Sunday, goodness, it's at noon. So they play Washington at noon on Sunday, April 2nd. So yeah, that'll be a heck of a series. But like I said, I got Oregon State, UCLA, Stanford as well, and Cal and Utah and Arizona, like I said, playing in a little tournament style Friday. And then Saturday, they play USD again and Georgetown. So yeah. But yeah, that is softball and all that good stuff. Gonna get out of here. Friday, I'm gonna lead off with because shout out to Cal. They won the swimming national championship. Well, shout out to the first two teams because Pac-12 1 and 2. Cal took first, and Arizona State was right there, but took second. Had a lot of individual champions. So we're going to lead off with swimming on Friday. But again, enjoy some hoops tonight. Enjoy your week, and again, watch some hoops. Watch some hockey. Obviously, that's going on too. The Frozen Four. I know it's tough. ASU's not there, but Frozen Four is going on as well. So watch some hoops, watch some hockey. Spring training is coming to an end. All that good stuff. But you can still watch a lot of great college baseball, softball, beach volleyball going on as well, track and field, all that stuff. So again, we'll get to it all here on Pac-12 Preview. But I'm going to get out of here. Everybody have a great week. I'll see you tonight on the Sports Arena. On the No Filter Network. Again, I'll have it posted on Twitter at Diablo00. Give me a follow, drop some lines, all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. And as always, have a great day. And yes, forks up.